Hey everybody, welcome back to Client Side Chats. And as always, we always have special guests, but Mark is actually a unique special guest because he's the first Client Side Chat we ever did. And he's agreed to come back. I think it's been, what, about 4 or 5 months? Is that right, Mark? Since we actually did this?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So anyway, welcome in Mark Patton. He is the EHS manager for Betts Company. And Betts Company, if you hadn't followed, has been around for over 150 years in the United States. And I'm glad to say they are making it through this pandemic, at least from what we've been talking about. So, but don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, our Facebook, our Vimeo, and our YouTube channels. And Mark, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be on your show.
Yeah, same here. I think it's great to have you as a guest. I know we communicate a lot outside of these things, and it's been interesting to see how things have been going. So, kind of give us a quick rundown. How have things been happening? Since the last time we chatted. Everything going well?
Yeah. So, from our previous conversation, we were very focused on putting measures in place and programs in place so that we could avoid COVID and keep our people safe. And that's become our normal now. So people are used to the social distancing. They're used to the hand washing. Of course, wearing masks was quite the challenge for us. Now masks are mandatory at all of our locations. And so that makes it a little easier too, since all locations are on the same footing, same requirements. And so now it's that transition of, hey, we've got to keep doing this in the new normal, but we also need to get back to the safety initiatives that we had going. So are we getting our behavior safety observations done? What about our quick risk predictions? How are we being proactive to keep people safe? And the challenge has also come about with the increase in business as other companies have returned to the new normal. We've got more orders and we've been able to bring back people that had been previously on furlough or laid off. We've also brought on some temporary employees. And so that changes the dynamics. You have more people in the building, and especially with the temps. Traditionally, the temporary employees are the ones who get hurt. So how do we keep them safe? How do we make sure our safety committee members have time to spend with them and shepherd them through the process until they're safe to work safely?
Yeah, that's great. And just so the audience can understand, you might hear every time Mark talks that there's a bit of a hum behind him. That's because the facility is moving. It's actually running, I won't say full production, but certainly you guys are really working out there, correct?
Correct. That is correct.
Yeah, and you've been going, I know before we got onto this, since about 2:30 this morning. So to me, I think that's wonderful things to hear. And I'm sure employees are very glad that they're back to work. But you did mention a couple of things in here that I wouldn't mind just kind of discussing a little bit here about specifically shepherding the new people as they come on board and allowing the safety committee members to have the time. It wasn't so long ago we were looking at that saying, well, they've got plenty of time now. The problem is we don't have the newer people to be able to kind of shepherd through the process, correct?
That is correct. And so when you bring a temporary employee on, they may have some manufacturing experience. They may have none. It could be their first job. And so making sure that they understand the manufacturing environment and how to keep themselves safe and not create a hazard is really important. We have a safety committee member that's in each area. We want that safety committee member to have the time to spend with the temporary employees, have the time to do behavior safety observations, as well as safety walks. We want to plan for safe conditions. We don't want to just react to hazards all of the time. And so with the increase of orders and the increase of people on the floor, it's that balancing act of how do you coordinate with the leads for the different areas and the managers to make sure that we can get done some of the proactive measures so that we don't have issues pop up. We definitely don't want to be reactive when someone gets hurt. We want to make sure we're doing everything proactive that we can think of.
Yeah, and remind everybody, Mark, what your company does, if you don't mind.
So we manufacture truck parts, specifically coiled springs as well as leaf springs. We also make mud flap hangers. And then another part of our business, which is called truck parts and service, actually works on heavy duty vehicles. So you can think of a trash truck, it's an essential vehicle. We specialize in working on suspensions. So we do a lot of trash truck repairs. also the fire engines, the giant RVs, and then of course the big rig truck.
Yeah, definitely. And I can tell you what Mark is not saying to the audience is you guys have furnaces too. You have a lot of hot areas and certainly a lot of equipment and machinery that really could end up very, very much harming people. And you've done a great job over the years, especially in getting those kinds of at-risk behaviors down by making it a proactive type of thing. So usually when people hear safety behavior observations, they think of, uh-oh, they're out disciplining and everything, and that's not how you implement the process, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. We don't want you to go out there and be a safety cop and zap people. All that does is create a negative environment. So, we want to praise in public. You're working safely. We want to reinforce that and tell you, hey, thanks for working safely, and this is what I saw you do. Especially with like a temporary employee or a newer employee, they may not necessarily understand that what they were doing was the right thing. They're copying the behavior around them. And that's how the at-risk behavior creeps into the process, because they may not know and they don't know any better, or they're copying a behavior they saw from another employee. So having that private conversation with them in a gentle way, but also in a way that lets them know that the at-risk behavior could get them hurt or someone else hurt, and we need to change that. And then that comes into also identifying hazards in the workplace so that we can correct those. You can imagine the hazards when we work on trash trucks. You've got the biological component, you're picking up trash. And so making sure that simple steps are in place. Each mechanic has their bottle of sanitation chemical so they can disinfect what they're working on, keep their tools disinfected, things like that. And then of course, as we talk about manufacturing, we do make metal into springs and mud flap hangers and fenders. So we're using furnaces. It gets very hot and it's summer, so that heat illness avoidance and coming up with strategies of how we can help keep our employees safe. Previously, we provided Gatorade on really hot days, but we don't want people reaching into an ice bucket with COVID. And so we transitioned and we provide an individual serve packet of Gatorade, and so they can put it into their ice water. And then we've got water coolers strategically located in the facility so they can get cold water whenever they want it. So it's coming up with proactive measures like that too, just to do everything we can to keep our employees safe and help them take steps so that they can keep themselves and others safe.
Yeah, and I love this, how you've now started to integrate everything in with the usual safe practices, and now you're taking your process and moving it forward with consideration for the COVID issues. So, you've incorporated that in and people seem to be embracing it. As safety professionals, we know what it's been like to get people to wear PPE forever and ever. So never, never an easy thing to do. So, but excellent. Mark, anything else you want to say before we depart today?
No, I just hope everyone's safe out there and do each of the steps that you can think of each day to keep your people safe, and definitely involve that safety committee. The safety champions that are out there for you are a force multiplier, and they make a world of difference.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark. Pleasure to see you. Pleasure to have you on. We'll look forward to the future with you too. So, all right. Take
Thank you.
care.